Watch this slick three-man action by the Nuggets in Game 1. Aaron Gordon sets an off-ball screen for Jamal Murray to curl around, but here's where the Clippers' defense completely breaks down. Chris Dunn and Batum miscommunicate. Batum thinks they're switching, Dunn doesn't, and that moment of confusion opens up a wide-open lane for Gordon, who slips to the rim for an easy 2. The Nuggets went right back to that same action to open Game 2, this time with Christian Braun and Michael Porter Jr. in the mix. The Clippers adjusted. Kawhi sticks close to MPJ as he comes off the screen. But when MPJ cuts toward the rim after a fake handoff from Jokić, Zubac overcommits just slightly. That's all the space Jokić needs to step back and knock down a clean 3. So far in this series, the Clippers just haven't cracked the code on this three-man action the Nuggets keep leaning on. And what's got to concern LA even more is that Denver's only getting more comfortable with it as the games go by. In Game 1, they went right back to it. Same concept, but with different personnel. This time, it's Russell Westbrook setting the screen instead of Gordon, and instead of flaring out, Murray curls off the screen and cuts hard to the rim. Derrick Jones Jr. tries to fight over it but gets hung up, leaving Harden stuck in no man's land, now responsible for both Murray and the rolling Westbrook. And in that moment of hesitation, Harden does neither. He doesn't commit to the roller, doesn't tag the cutter, and Murray walks into an uncontested layup. This is a go-to action the Nuggets have relied on all season long, but there are two key elements that make it work. First, Denver makes sure the weakest defender on the opposing team is pulled into the play. Second, it's all about luring the opponent's best rim protector, in this case, Zubac, for the Clippers, as far away from the paint as possible. Because Jokić initiates the play from the top of the key, Zubac is dragged out with him, effectively removing the Clippers' primary shot blocker from the paint. That opens up the lane for Murray, or whoever is the screener, to cut freely toward the basket without fear of a true rim protector waiting. What makes this action even more dangerous is the flexibility Denver has with their screener. There's no set player, they'll simply choose whoever is being guarded by the weakest perimeter defender on the opposing team. That means the Nuggets are constantly hunting mismatches. It also increases the chances of a defensive breakdown, as now the weakest defender becomes central to the play and has to make high-level decisions quickly. Let's look at an example from Game 4. The Nuggets run this same three-man action with the screener's defender being Harden, arguably the weakest defender among the Clippers lineup on the floor. Just like in the clip from Game 1, Murray makes a hard cut to the rim off a pick set by Gordon. Harden hesitates and is late in communicating the switch to Dunn. That moment of confusion leaves Gordon wide open at the top of the key, and he knocks down the 3 with ease. And let's be honest, giving Gordon a wide open 3 is not the shot you want to live with if you're the Clippers. Gordon knocked down 43.6% of his threes during the regular season, and here's the kicker. Over 95% of those looks came with no defender within 4 feet. In other words, he thrives on open looks, and the Clippers just handed him one on a silver platter. But that's exactly the dilemma this Nuggets play creates. It's designed to put the opposing team's weakest defender right in the spotlight, forcing them to be a deciding factor in the possession. And no matter how the defense adjusts, Denver almost always ends up with a high-quality look. Whether it's Murray slipping behind Harden for a cut to the rim, Gordon popping out for that deadly 3, or Murray curling over the screen and pulling up himself, the Clippers are constantly a step behind. They'd practically need a 4th defender just to cover all the threats in this 3-man action. And if they do bring extra help, someone else gets left wide open. And for the Clippers, what makes it even more painful is this. Murray is statistically the worst 3-point shooter among Denver's starters this season, and yet he still knocked down nearly 40% from beyond the arc. That's the kind of luxury the Nuggets enjoy. Every player on the floor is essentially a threat. At this point, the Nuggets' go-to action feels nearly unguardable. They've leaned on it time and again throughout the series, and it continues to deliver exactly what they want. Just look at Game 5. The Nuggets run the same set, but this time Dunn goes over the screen, taking away Murray's option to pull up for a 3. So Murray makes the read and cuts inside. That cut forces Harden to switch onto him, exactly what Denver wants. Like I mentioned earlier, placing the weakest defender in this action almost always leads to a breakdown. And that's exactly what happens here. As Murray continues his cut toward the wing, Harden gets caught ball watching. That momentary lapse is all Murray needs. He gains separation, receives the handoff from Jokić, and buries the 3. Once again, it's a clear example of how targeting the weakest link on defense can completely unravel a possession. Fast forward just a few minutes, Denver runs the same action again. This time, Batum decides to go under the screen, probably expecting Murray to cut like he did before. But Murray reads it perfectly. Instead of diving toward the rim, he flares out to the arc, catches Batum out of position, and nails another uncontested three. Same play, different read, same devastating result. However, as Game 5 rolled on, the Clippers tried to shake things up defensively. Their plan was to have one of their wings or guards to be Jokic's primary defensive matchup, while Zubac stayed near the rim, guarding either Gordon, Braun, or Westbrook. The idea was simple. If Murray cut to the rim, Zubac would be in position to help protect it. But the Nuggets quickly caught on to this. They stopped running that three-man action, and instead, they adapted with other, more lethal strategies. One of their go-to plays was to run post-ups for Jokic. Whenever the Clippers used a smaller defender to guard him, Jokic made sure to take full advantage of it, finding success not just in this game, but throughout the entire series. Whether it was scoring off his post-ups or dishing out dimes to teammates, Jokic was a force. And for the Clippers, the Jokic post-up wasn't exactly the defensive solution they were hoping for. This season, Jokic shot nearly 60% from the field on post-ups. In fact, no player in the league posted up more than him. So when the Clippers tried to help off Jokic's post-ups, they risked leaving his teammates wide open, who were always ready to cut whenever they sensed a breakdown in the Clippers' defense. And you can bet Jokic was quick to find them. But it didn't end there. As an alternative to the Jokic post-ups, the Nuggets also ran the Murray-Gordon high pick and roll, freeing up Gordon to either score or make a play off the short roll. And of course, they still had their bread and butter, the Jokic-Murray two-man game. And much like Jokic in the post, the Murray pick and roll is hardly a better option for the Clippers to stop. Murray ranked in the 80th percentile in the regular season for points per possession in pick and rolls, and he's only gotten better in the playoffs, bumping his numbers from 1.00 points per possession in the regular season to 1.18 in the playoffs. Whatever the Clippers threw at them, it didn't matter. They simply couldn't find a way to stop the Nuggets' offense. The three-man action that Denver loves to run was just too potent, and the Nuggets had too many counters to whatever defensive adjustments the Clippers tried to make. The most surprising part was that the Nuggets could have run that play even more often in Game 5 before the Clippers adjusted, but they didn't, and still came away with a dominant win. So, with Game 6 on the horizon, it'll be fascinating to see how the Clippers plan to handle the Nuggets' offensive juggernaut. Will they continue to force Zubac away from the rim, or will they finally find a way to disrupt the Nuggets' flow? Only time will tell, but it's going to be a series-defining adjustment. As always, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all your support, and I can't wait to break down more film with you next time.
Before the end of the regular season, came back, played the final 2 games. Gordon soars in and explodes to the cup.